Hello friends, I'm Saket Bansal. I am PMP Agile Trainer and I run a company named Eisenbridge Consultancy Private Limited. And today we are talking about basics of PMP, like what is PMP, what are the eligibility requirement, how can I acquire contact hours, or what is contact hours, and how much does it cost, and the pattern of exam. So these are the agenda item for today's webinar session. During the webinar, I will take 2 Q&A breaks and the third break at the end of the webinar. So during the Q&A break, I will address your questions. While I am presenting the slides, if you get any question in your mind, just type it in your question box. So in GoToWebinar panel, you have a box written as a questions. Type it there, send it to me, and I will look at your queries during the Q&A breaks. So that is the way we will be conducting the webinar. So let's start with a simple poll. Like, before I move forward, I need to know where do you stand in your PMP journey. This poll will help me to identify the right area to focus on during the presentation. So let's run a small poll where I am asking that how many of you have read about PMP, have you seen the PMP handbook, or visited pmi.org. PMP is managed, is a certification from PMI, and the PMI has a book called PMP handbook, and this book contains all rule and regulation and process details which are relevant for PMP exam. And even after getting certified, how do you need to maintain your certification, those details are also given in that book. So I just want to know, like, how many of you have been through pmi.org or seen the PMP handbook, because the idea is how many of you are aware of PMP exam. So some of you have not selected the option. Please cast your vote so we move forward. And okay, so I'm closing the poll. Last chance if you want to cast your vote. Close. So here is the results. Like, majority of you have read a glimpse of it, a quick read of PMI website or PMP handbook. So now let's start with a simple question. What is PMP? Now, PMP stands for Project Management Professionals. Now, it is a certification offered by Project Management Institute, and PMI, it is an American institute, and the PMP certification is accredited by American National Standard Institute and ISO 17024. So technically, PMP is a project management professional, a certification given by PMI. Now, a lot of time I get queries that is the PMP right certification for me? Should I go for PMP, or I should look for some technical certification or an agile certification or something else, big data, Hadoop, etc., etc. Now, if you are working as a project manager and you really enjoy working as a project manager, you want to build your career in the project management direction, then PMP becomes a must-have for you, because PMP recognizes the competence of individual in performing the role of project manager. Now, just getting PMP certification will not make you a great project manager. Project management is all about managing people, and a lot of things happens through your soft skills and communication, the way you negotiate and manage people. But PMP certification will help you to understand the terminologies, the lexicons of project management. It will help you to understand the tool and techniques which you can use in managing your day-to-day project. So if you think that you want to become a established or a professional project manager, then the PMP certification is a good choice for you. Now, the PMP has an eligibility requirement. Not a fresh graduate or anybody can go for a PMP certification. Now this eligibility requirement is of two categories. One is experience and another is 35 contact hours. Now the experience, if you are high school graduate, a diploma, then you need to have 5 years or a 7,500 hours of project management experience. Now this experience has to be of leading and directing project work, leading people, monitoring and controlling project. That type of experience is needed. If you are a bachelor degree or a 4 years degree, graduate plus MCA, graduate plus MBA, if you have completed 16 years of education, then 3 years of experience in leading and directing project work will make you qualify for PMP certification. Now, a lot of time people get confused about this leading and directing, the definition of leading and directing experience. What kind of activities I should be performing, when I can say that, okay, I am doing the work which is as per the PMP requirement. Now, PMI it has divided the complete project management role in a 5 groups. So they also use the term domain, and when you look at project management body of knowledge, it is also called process groups. So we have 5 groups which represent a logical transformation or a logical division of work in a project. The first group is initiating. So if you were involved in identifying the feasibility of the project and making the project charter or identifying the stakeholders, you are performing an initiating type of activities in your project. The second type of activity which qualify for leading and directing or a project management experience role is planning. If you are creating scope statement, if you are helping your team to divide the scope into manageable work packages, then you are creating project schedule. Then these are the activities which are expected to be done by the project manager. So these activities qualify for that experience. While people are executing the project, are you handling the issues? Are you motivating your team members, monitoring their performance, guiding them, coaching them, ensuring that deliverables are getting tested by the quality control, ensuring that people are following quality policies? These falls under executing process group of your activities. Now once everybody is executing work, you also need to do a monitoring and controlling. Like you look at plan versus target. You prepare reports where you project your project progress. Also you exposes the issues which are there in your project. So if you are doing that type of work will fall under monitoring and controlling domain or a process group under your leading and directing project experience. And finally, the activities which are involved in closing the project, like compiling the lesson learned, doing the administrative closure, getting final acceptance from the customer or a stakeholder, those kind of activities are called closing domain activities. Now, you no need to have experience in all the 5 domain in every project. For example, in last 3 years, you have done 3 projects. Now, it could happen that in the first project, you were only involved in executing and monitoring and control. But in the second project, you were involved in initiating, planning and closing as well. So it's not necessary to have all the 5 domain experience in a given or in a particular project, but in general, your 3 years of experience should be having exposure of all these 5 domains. So PMI has not given a ratio that you must be having these many hours of experience in initiating, etc., etc. But the recommendation is you need to have exposure of all the 5 domains activities. Now you may think, how does PMI going to verify my experience? Now, if you are saying that you have been doing project management work for 3 years, PMI will trust you. So by default, PMI will trust your declaration. But just to verify how people are declaring, randomly some percentage, nearby 5% of the PMP application gets selected for audit. And the people who get selected for the audit need to provide supporting details in the way of they need to take signature from their reporting managers on the paper, and then they need to submit their educational the photocopy of their educational certificates and the signature from their reporting manager to the PMI US. So that is the way PMI makes sure that you are declaring and you are trustworthy. Now we are at our Q&A break, and here we can take questions related to this segment of our webinar. So let's start with the questions. Okay, I have 13 years of experience in business operations, primarily in BPO, on which over 8 years in project in a management role. I haven't had any formal project management experience. Can I still apply? Now, we need to get a feel of what is project. Now, project is a temporary activity which we do in order to get a unique output. The unique output could be an establishment of a new service. So if you were involved in commissioning one particular service in your BPO organization, the service design, the service transformation is a part of project activities. So those kind of experience where you are designing and transforming the service to a production is type of project activities. The second type of project activities could be that you are involved in doing some Six Sigma project in which you are trying to identify how to improve the efficiency of your operations. So the process improvement projects are qualified for project management experience. Now, if you don't have these kind of experience, then even PMP is not the right certification for you, because even you get qualified, but the expectation from PM exposure is that you would be doing project management roles. So look at your previous experience and the future goal, and if you are involved in a type of projects where you are commissioning service, rolling out service, migrating one service from one location to another location, or improving processes, then those kind of experience can qualify for project management experience. Another question, I have 10 years of experience and performing lead and manager work for the last 4 years, but I'm not sure about 4,500 hours can I document. Now, see, the documentation is in general, you can believe that you should be putting 172 hours per month. Now, while you are documenting your experience, you need to focus on non-overlapping project. So if you were involved in a project management groups, the 5 domains for more than 36 months, you will qualify. So 3 years, if you are involved in doing project works, you will get qualified for that role. And if you selected for the audit, so now how that audit happens? While filling the PMI application form, you will declare someone as a reporting manager or someone as a primary stakeholder who can say that yes, you were doing this particular work in a project. If you get selected for the audit, PMI will send you a PDF file which is prepared using your declaration only, and you need to get a signature on that particular document. You don't need to take any certificate from the organization. There is no organization letterhead certificate needed. Whatever you have filled on your application, and while filling an application you must have declared someone as a reporting manager, that person has to sign it, and then you need to submit it to the PMI. That is the only thing PMI will verify. Okay, so next question, have experience, had been part of different projects throughout career. How smooth is the transition from ops to a dedicated PM role post PMP certification? Okay, so what I get out of this question is that you have been working on various projects and doing these 5 domains work in a different segments, but you are thinking that if you become PMP certified, how easy to get a formal project manager role. It's very helpful if you have a PMP certification with you to demonstrate, because that is the goal of PMP certification. It helps you in demonstrating your skills, knowledge of PMP project management tools. Now, project management cannot be done just by using those tools, but having knowledge of those tools, having understanding of PMP project management terminology will help you to implement or apply your own skills faster. So it helps the recruiter, because recruiter also get a confidence on you because you are PMP certified, so he can fairly assume that you would be knowing the project management related terminologies. After that, most of the organization now give a case study during an interviews and all. So if you do good, so it is not only memorizing input outputs. If you want to grow as a project manager, just memorizing input output and giving PMP exam will not help, because whenever you go to any interview, you need to show that out of a case study you can really make a project plan. So, but yes, doing a PMP study will help you to acquire that skill. So do it in a real sense, not just memorizing input output and finishing it. Okay, so another question that the person has worked for 4-5 projects and reported to 4-5 persons, then how will I get the signature? Yes, so need to try, like if you get if you are declaring all those projects, you need to get signature from all. So it's something that you need to be very careful, not necessary to give a reporting manager always. You can identify some person who is easily approachable, but he's your primary stakeholder who was aware what you were doing in that particular project. So find someone who is easily approachable, because there is a probability of getting selected for audit, but just for a probability, make sure that you declare or you take your project experience consisting of people who are approachable. Have experience as a project coordinator, so another question, and a project manager in various projects, but right now I am okay, it is possible to appear PM. Oh, yes. So now it is not necessary to be in a job while you are giving an exam. So if you have in previous 5 years you have acquired 3 years of project experience, you can go for this particular certification. So you no need to be in job. Now documentation, you are focusing on your previous project. So you need to declare a previous project, need to have someone who can really sign or verify you if you get selected for the audit, that yes, you worked on those projects. So even from your previous job, now the one thing I want to make it clear, that if you get selected for the audit, PMI gives you 90 days to get the signature. It is not like a fast thing. You can easily get, just if you fill your form carefully by declaring the people who are relatively easily approachable, then you can get the signature in 90 days. So that is how the documentation can work. Okay, so any other question, or if I miss something before we move forward? Now, it is not necessary to work on the same project for 3 years, but if you have been working in the same project for 3 years, then it's relatively easy to furnish the documentation. So if you have less number of projects, it's good, because in the event of getting selected for the audit, your paperwork would be less. Okay, so let's move forward and we take the second round of Q&As after this. Now, so there are 2 types of eligibility requirement. One is your experience, the second is contact hours. Now you might have heard that 35 contact hours, this training provides you a facility to acquire 35 contact hours. So let's demystify what this 35 contact hours is all about. Now, 1 hour of project management education is equal to 1 contact hours. So if you are taking a classroom session on a project management, a 1 hour of project management delivery qualifies for 1 contact hours. The contact hours can be acquired online by way of going through online learning contents for 35 hours and also doing some quizzes in between, and ultimately doing end of course assessment test can qualify you for 35 contact hours. Now, who can give you these contact hours? Lot of time we think that there are a type of organizations which has a stamp from PMI. They are the only one who can provide these contact hours. It is not like that. Even your own organization, the company you are working for, can provide you a certificate for 35 contact hours. If they are providing you a education in project management area for 35 hours, they can issue a certificate and that certificate will work. So there are various categories. PMI registered education provider, they can give you this kind of training. PMI component organizations like chapters, they may conduct these kind of trainings and provide you. Employer company sponsored program, your company may sponsor a project management education program. Not necessary to be named as a PMP education program, but if that education program is covering project management for 35 hours, you can just show your attendance history and say that this is my 35 contact hours. Training company like me, so we fall like training company and consultants who provide training, who ensures that yes, you have acquired 35 hours, and then after that they issue a certificate, also qualifies for the 35 contact hours. Distance learning company, so training company doing distance learning, including an end of course assessment test. University or college academics, so for example, if you are doing a MBA in project management, so during your MBA, if you have a subject on project management and the number of hours you spend learning that particular subject, the classroom instruction you received for that particular subject can also qualify for the contact hours. So there are various ways, and PMI is very open about it. You just need to find evidence by way of attendance sheet or a company issuing a certificate. Yes, you have acquired these hours, it will work for you. Now, so the problem is, lot of time we look these 35 contact hours as an eligibility requirement, and we just take it from somewhere and then we start thinking about what to do next. Be aware that 20%, only the 20% of the people or less than 20% of the people who take these 35 contact hours go for the real exam. People end up acquiring hours but not going for an exam. So whenever you are selecting a training provider, just don't select just for a certificate, because getting a 35 contact hours certificate, you can find various cheap ways. Maybe you can get it for free. If you're just looking for a 35 contact hour certificate, you can even get it for free. But the real exam is $550 exam. So if you want to make sure that you finish this exam soon and you do it in your first attempt, then select a training company who can support you in your complete certification journey, who can help you in filling your application, who can diagnose your progress, who can guide you along the way. So now I spoke about some numbers. So how much does it cost? Simple. It costs you nearby $550. So now if you go to a PMP handbook, you will find there is a member fee, there is a non-member fee, and this slide is saying for member it's a 405 and I am saying it's 550 nearby. See, there are two categories. One is member, another is non-member. But in order to become a member, you need to spend some amount, which is $139. So in general, the total comes to $550 US, nearby 545 something US dollar for the exam. If you end up giving this exam again, for example, if you fail in the first attempt, then you can take the exam, like you can take 3 attempts in a year, and the re-examination will cost you $275 US if you are a member, and if you are not a member, it will cost you $375 US. Now, becoming a member will cost you $129 plus $10. So they put some charges of $10. So $139 US will be the cost of becoming member. Membership is valid for 1 year. And if you become a member, you get an access to good amount of project management book. Even you can download the various PMBOK standards, project management standards, the PMBOK version 5, the work breakdown structure standard, the program management standards. All those standards you can download the digital version of it because they are available to the members. My recommendation is, if you are thinking of giving PMP exam in 3 months time, then become a member, because becoming a member will give you a good amount of material access. A lot of time what we do, we delay the membership till the time we fill the final examination application, and we take the membership at the last moment. So if we do that, we miss the utilization of the e-read and reference, the material which is available to the member before during the PMP preparation process. So it's recommended to take an exam say just after 3 months of taking membership. So why should 3 months? Why not I take the membership now and give an exam after 1 year? So if you plan to give an exam after 1 year, then better not to take membership now. Why? Because in the event of failure, like if you fail the exam, in an exceptional case, if you fail in the exam, if your membership is not valid, then you end up paying $375 for the next attempt. So better to keep some buffer. So at least 3-4 months of time before your membership get expired, give an exam. So in the event of second attempt, the same membership is still valid, and you can utilize the same membership for the re-examination fee. Okay, so Q&A time. Let me see the questions. Okay, so we have another question that I am also a Scrum Master. So do you think that PMP is a better, or going for PMI ACP is a good idea? Like, okay, see, it's a very interesting topic, and I have written a very good article on it on my website, PMP versus PMI ACP. Now the PMP is good for traditional project management. If you are managing projects which is involving people more than 50, then you should go for PMP. If you are working as a Scrum Master, if you are involved in doing day-to-day agile related stuff, better to go for PMI ACP, because PMI ACP is a new certificate, and if you are involved in Scrum or agile related work, better do it now, because we have good amount of PMP certified people, but not PMI ACP. So we can talk on it offline, because you just read a blog, and then we can get into the details of it. But my recommendation is, if you are involved in agile related work, go for PMI ACP, not for PMP. Okay, the question is that if the total cost of member and non-member is more or less same, so there is a slight less, like you may say $5 by becoming a member, but still I will recommend you to become a member, because you get an access to good amount of learning material, you get a copy of PMBOK, and in the event of failure, you can give the exam in $275. So there you can make the saving of again some dollars. So it's always recommended to become a member and then go for a PMP exam. The another question is, if you have already PM experience, then do you need a 35 contact hours as well? You do need a 35 contact hours. That's a prerequisite. Now, if you feel that you are sufficient, eligible enough to take care of your complete needs, then you can procure a 35 contact hours just by going through a cheap online education, because your criteria, you are only looking for a certificate and you believe that you can handle the complete thing, but you need the certificate. So that is required. But I would recommend select the training provider who can help you in diagnosing your results, filling the application form, and whenever you get questions like this, you can clarify that this is what you have to do. Else you may end up in the 80% population who just take the training and never go for an exam. Okay, so now the question is, apart from buffer, from fee perspective, how much time should you as a PMP trainer think ideally a candidate should spend on preparation before appearing for the exam? This is like frequently asked questions, and my frequent answer is it is an individual specific thing. But in general, if you are spending 10 to 20 hours a week, then 6 to 8 weeks time is more than enough for PMP in normal circumstances. Now, how do we identify your circumstances? For my students, I do a continuous diagnosis of the performance. So by way of taking simulation exam, if you can do it your self-diagnosis also, take simulation exams. And if you have started scoring more than 70% on a decent simulation exam, now the quality of simulation exam is another topic, but if you start scoring well in some simulation exams which are good representation of the PMP exam, then you can change or speed up your examination time. But in general, 2 months is more than enough if you are continuing your PMP related thing. But again, we need to inspect and adapt, my agile term. So we do a monitoring, so we do a plan versus actual analysis and then move forward. Another question, I have completed PMP training 2 years back and got certificate as well. Can I use the same certificate now for the exam, or do I need to attend training again? You do not need to attend training again. As of now, the PMP 35 contact hour certificate is coming without expiration date. You can apply for PMP exam even after 2 years. As of now, there is no rule saying your 35 contact hours are not valid enough. So as far as criteria is concerned, you can go ahead. Okay, so I move to the final segment of the presentation. I think we are getting some answers. If you have any query, keep typing. I will take them once I am done with the final segment. Now, how the exam look like. So till now we have covered what is PMP, what are the eligibility criteria, how much time it will take to prepare for it, and how much money it will cost you. Now let us look to the exam. Now the PMP exam is a 4-hour long exam. You will get 200 questions, and out of 200 questions, the 175 questions are the scored and 25 questions are pre-test questions. But this information has no use for you, because for you there are 200 questions and you need to read and answer all those 200, because you cannot distinguish which is pre-test and which is the scored one. So you get 200 questions and 4 hours to give your PMP exam. You can take as many breaks you want, at least 2-3 breaks are allowed, but your clock will not stop. So there is no scheduled break. 4 hours means 4 hours, but if you end up taking some break, it's your time. The exam will happen at a Prometric center. The Prometric centers which are authorized to conduct GMAT, GRE exams are the one who usually conduct the PMP certification exam. And now PMI has not disclosed the passing percentage of PMP exam. I know many of you will ask, what is the pass percentage? 60%, 65%, 70%? Nobody knows. There is a guesswork. Somebody feels that it is 66%, other feels it's near to 70%, some says it's 80%, but nobody knows. Now, what we know is that it will be, the questions would be coming from 5 groups, and these 5 groups are initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling and closing, and the percentage of distribution of these questions is like this. The 13% questions would be coming from initiating. Whatever information I am sharing is coming from PMP handbook. So it is a authorized PMP information. A PMI is giving these all information, not I am not putting anything on top of it. I am just explaining to them you. So the initiating has two processes, like develop project charter and identify stakeholders. So you will get 13% questions from initiating process group. Then planning has many processes and you get 24 from there. Executing has 8, I guess. You get 30%, monitoring and control 25%, and closing 8%. So if you see that initiating and closings, because both are having only 2 processes, are the one which gives you a good marks. Now this is the distribution, and at the end you get the score in all these 5 domains. So in all these 5 domains, initiating, planning, monitoring, executing, closing, the PMI will rank you on the basis of your exam performance in 3 categories: proficient, moderately proficient, and below proficient. And they have some internal logic which will identify that you are PMP pass or fail. So you will get 1 pass fail score and a diagnostic information which would be having a 5 domains and a ranking of yours in a proficient, moderate, proficient, and below proficient. What we have seen, one below proficient may work. Like many got a below proficient in one of the area, but still they were certified. Now, how as a trainer or as a training company we ensure that our people will get certified? Because if we don't know what is the passing percentage, how can we judge? So we do have our historical data. We have set of our simulation exam, and we know that people who perform in a particular way in those simulation exam qualify for the final exam. So we, on the basis of our experience, on the basis of your preparation and performance in the simulation exam, you yourself and as a training company or whichever training company you opt for can judge that are you ready for the final exam. And that would be the judgment which will work, and that is the only thing which we have in our control, because we don't know the final pass and fail percentage. So as of now, whoever has acquired 35 contact hours from us never failed. So yeah, but we do have few cases where people failed in the exam and now they are consulting with us, or so we are also doing some diagnostic analysis of their performance, past performance and current performance that will help us in moving forward. Now as an Eisenbridge, so few slides about our approach of doing 35 contact hours training. So we don't only talk about 35 contact hours, but we talk about certification. So if you look at our approach, it is not giving you a certificate of 35 contact hours and saying that now go for a PMP exam. We try to focus on involving yours with you by way of our LinkedIn group, by way of our YouTube channel, by way of our exclusive webinars. Like this month we have a webinar, of 2-hour webinar on PMP mathematics. So those kind of webinars we conduct for our students and try to remain involved with them till the time they get certified. And we also conduct a 4-hour clarification session every month for our students over the web, which we do at 8 o'clock from Indian time. You can check GMT and Eastern time. And we have a question bank. So as of now, we are building or migrating our previous question bank to a PMBOK 5. We are targeting to build a question bank of 1400 questions by this month end. We are already done with 300 questions already uploaded, and we are uploading 300 questions per week in our question bank. So that is the tool which we use to verify that people are ready for their final exam. So this is a flow which is applicable for our students. We have video learning videos of classroom where I am teaching PMP topics using whiteboard and pen only. So I try to present the case with a touch of practical applicability of those concepts. So we recommend our students to go through twice, like 2 iterations of those videos, and then they need to do an end of course assessment test. So this makes them qualified for 35 contact hours. So once they get the 35 contact hours, they need to take 2 branches, like they need to do a PMI application work, and then they need to focus on their studies in parallel. So in a PMI application form, we help them to fill the forms to make sure that they are using the right keywords while explaining their experience, and so the PMI can approve it without asking for more clarification. So that's a one side we do that work. In parallel, we recommend our students to go through videos and PMBOK together. So a person need to, initially when you are going through videos, you are not looking at the PMBOK, because starting the PMP study with the PMBOK sometimes becomes confusing, especially to the people who are not very familiar with the project management terms. So initially we recommend only videos and quizzes and our simulation exam, the practice test. Once you are done with the 35 contact hours, then we says, okay, now pick the PMBOK, and then video and PMBOK and practice test, and practice test. So once you are done, you start scoring 80% in the randomly generated practice tests which are coming from our 1000 questions database. Then we give you a full length exam, and these are the questions which we have reserved for the final assessment. So we give you a 2 full length exam, and on the basis of your performance on those full length exam, we recommend you some more learning or go for the final exam, and then you get PMP certified. So this is a workflow of our approach for making people PMP certified. Similar workflow we have for PMI ACP also. So the people who are interested in Agile can look at our PMI ACP certification FAQ presentation, and there also we have a similar workflow. We remain connected with the project management community with the people who are aspiring to become PMP by way of our LinkedIn group. We have a PMBOK file PMP certification made easy, a LinkedIn group. We have a Facebook page as well as a Facebook group. So people who are very comfortable with Facebook can join our Facebook group as well. And we have an active YouTube channel. So I keep posting good amount of videos and in our YouTube channel. So that's a way of that's our way of engaging with our students as well as PMP aspirants. And these are my contact details. I'm Saket. You can reach me over the mail. You can reach me through any of the social communities, because I am available in most of the social network. So let's the final Q&A time. So let's take the set of questions and then we move forward. Close the session. Okay. How many days it takes to get the application cleared from PMI? So now there are 2 stages. You fill the application. Let me go back to the flow so you can also see this. So when once you are done with the filling of your PMP application, you need to submit it to the PMI. And till this point, you don't have to submit the money. You are just submitting the application. The PMI will take maximum 5 days to review and approve your application. So if they find your experience good enough for a PMP certification exam, they will approve your the application in 5 days time. After you get an approval, then you need to pay the fee. And once you pay the fee, within a minute, you get the eligibility ID, which can make you eligible for giving an exam. And this is the time where application also gets selected for the audit. So as you make the payment, either you get a mail that your PMP application, you are eligible for taking PMP certification, and this is your eligibility ID. Go to a Prometric site and schedule your exam. Alternative, or a scenario 1. Scenario 2, your application has been selected for the audit. Please find the attached documents and get it signed by the reporting manager, and there would be steps, and send it to this particular postal address. So if you get selected for the audit, then you need to prepare those documents and send it. So my recommendation is, so if you want to give a PMP exam after 15 days, better to pay the fee in advance, because in the event of getting selected for the audit, you should have some time to make your document reach to US. So if you are in India, if you send by speed post, because that's the cheap media of sending the documents to US, it takes nearby 3 weeks. And if you take a Blue Dart and all, then it would be a bit costly. It can reach in 3 days or less than 3 days. 2 days it can reach in 2 days, but it would be costing you 4,000-5,000 rupees just sending those documents. So it's better to keep a 1 month buffer or 3 weeks buffer just to ensure that you can take care of possibility of audit. Okay, so another question, that how do you help in filling the form? Now, what we have done is that we have, on the basis of our guidelines, we have identified a possible way of presenting the project experience. So we have sample experience which were filled, used by our previous students and mentored by us. So we share an approach via email to our students, and once they are done with filling their application, the PMI interface allows you to save your interface in a PDF format. Now, now the PDF format, you can send it to me and then I review and say that this is good enough and you go ahead. Now, in case you get selected for the audit, we don't have any role to play. In an audit, you don't have to do anything extra. Whatever you have filled, you just need a signature on it. So you only need to go with the application which you have already filled to your reporting manager and get it signed. You don't have to do anything extra. But if you get any query that how should I do it, where should I email it, you can anytime contact us. But in general, audit is more about getting the signature and dispatching the courier. And as PMI receives it, usually within 24 hours, they say that 3 to 5 days they can take to clear your audit. But many of our cases, which I have seen audit cases, they cleared the application within 24 hours. So as they received the application, they just cleared it. Okay, so access to a training material. So there was another question like how long we get an access to the training material. So the way I have designed my online package, it is like I provide 60 days access once you buy the program. Now if you want to renew it, you can pay a nominal fee, which is $30 US for non-Indians and 1500 for Indians, and get it extended for another 60 days. Now, another question. Everybody, as in other REPs, share that it's a 60% is a passing mark. Your statement is contradictory. Whom should I trust? Look to a PMI documents. PMI has not disclosed any passing percentage. Now, those REPs may be making judgment on the basis of their practice test. They may have designed a practice test where person scores 60%, they can say this person will pass the exam. But legally, nobody can tell you that what is the passing percentage. Nobody knows it, only PMI knows it. So, no need to trust me, just trust PMI. Okay. So at a start, I need to spend $139 and become a member and complete. Yeah, so to start with, if you are thinking of giving a PMP exam in 3 to 6 months time, you need to become a member. So that gives you an access to the application forms. It will give you an access to the PMBOK. It will give you an access to another reading material, and then you can get a exam and move forward. Now the follow-up question is that what about your alumni has cleared the exam? PMP says like how many percentage they got. Now I want to reiterate again. I think I missed that point, presenting that point properly. You get a result which is saying there are 5 domains and you were proficient, moderate proficient, and below proficient. That's it. Now at what percentage PMI makes you a proficient? Nobody knows. At what percentage it makes you a below proficient? Nobody knows. So even if you go for an exam, after giving an exam, you will never be knowing how much percentage you have scored. You will even never be knowing have you marked the question, a particular question, right or wrong. PMI will not share the right answers with you. PMI will not share the result with you. So like when I gave my exam, like recently the PMI ACP, I got proficient, but I don't know I got 100% or 90% or 70%. But I know that I got maximum out of the sample they have. So nobody knows, even PMI never, like earlier when I did my PMP, when in year 2006, that time they used to give a percentage ranking. That time I did get in my results sheet that I got a domain-wise percentage ranking. But going forward, they are not providing any percentage distribution. So they tell a candidate is pass or fail, and then in the remaining 5 domains, they provide you a ranking, moderate proficient, below proficient, or proficient. So that ranking is good enough only for the people who failed the exam, because then they can analyze which are the area they need to work more on. The people who just pass the exam, they just don't need to worry about their ranking. They just celebrate that I am PMP certified. But the people who fail the exam, they need to look into those 5 domain analysis only, because that is the only window which PMI has opened for them. Nothing else is known to them. Even they are not aware what percentage they got. Okay, so do you have any sample templates to help us in a filling application form as well as a document of project management experience? Yes, we do have. And I always says that it's a fairly simple process. If you follow our recommendations, filling an application form will be a job of maximum 30 minutes to 45 minutes, provided you already have identified a reporting manager, start date of the project, end date of the project, and the activities you performed in that particular project. The key is identify the right person. Okay, that's a good question. To renew a PMP certification, do I need to appear for the PMP exam again? Now, the PMI will not force you to retake the PMP, but they have a process called continuous education. Now, you need to acquire, the way we are interacting today, you need to acquire more and more project management contact knowledges. So you, by way of attending webinars, by way of reading books, by way of writing blogs, you need to remain involved in the project management related activities. Now, your involvement, you need to report to a PMI using the same interface which you use while applying for PMP exam. So they have a process of giving credits which they call professional development unit, PDUs. So you need to acquire 60 professional development units in 3 years time in order to extend your PMP certification for another 3 years. So you need to acquire 60 PDUs, report those 60 PDUs to PMI, and before completing the 3 years you need to renew your certificate. Now, renewal will also cost you some money. As of now, if you are a member, they will charge you $60 to renew your PMP certification for another 3 years. So you need to spend some money and you need to report the activities you are doing in the project management area. Okay, final questions. We still have 3 minutes to go before we complete our time box for this webinar. Any query related to PMP, audit, pass marks, or our process or question bank, please let me know, else we just close in 2 minutes. Okay, so this question is coming from my process. So if I pay now, when will I get the login? See, once you pay, I will activate, like if you pay today, before I sleep, I will create your account. But if you pay after say 11 PM, then you will get an account tomorrow morning. So I usually create account within an hour, but in some exceptional case when I'm sleeping, it can take 12 hours. Maximum 12 hours. So if you pay now, you get in 15-30 minutes, maximum 1 hour. Okay, so I'm thinking of closing this webinar. I think we have, okay, another question. Can we submit the application and schedule the exam in next 6 months? Good question. You submit the application, you pay the fee, and PMI will give you an email, and that eligibility ID will be valid for 12 months. So once you paid, once you are done with all the processes, you can take the exam in next 12 months. But do remember, my recommendation, take it soon so you can use the same membership in the event of re-examination. But I hope you will not face that event, but never, it's better to do it at least before you, so when you are paying the fee, you need to be a PMI member. But when you are giving an exam, you no need to be a PMI member. Yeah, so if you are exchange rate conscious, you take your judgment, and before, to be ready for that exchange rate transaction, at least submit your application first, do with your other work, and then you just need to pay the fee. So whenever you see a dollar rupee rate doing good, but you don't know what rate you will get, because in India you get it through credit card. So credit card will use a X benchmark, but again, if that weak trend is low, then you may get some advantage. Okay, so that was a good one. Now the audit happens once you pay the fee. So as I said, there are two steps. First, you submit the application. PMI will take 5 days to review and approve your application. Once they review it, they will say that you are good enough to proceed. And as you get this information, you can pay the fee. And just after paying the fee, within an hour, you will either get a eligibility ID, which will make you eligible for taking an exam, or you will get an email saying that you have been selected for the audit. Submit these documents. So audit happens once you pay, and there are two stages. First, you submit the application. You don't have to pay at that particular point of time. 5 days, PMI will review it. When PMI says that your application is as per PMP eligibility requirement, we have found everything okay, then you go and pay the fee. Audit is only a confirmation of whatever you have declared. The application is already approved. The audit is only verifying whatever you have approved, whatever you have mentioned in an application. Do you have someone to verify or someone to support you that yes, you were doing all these things? That's it. Okay, so I think we are done. Any final question? Okay, so thanks for joining in our webinar on PMP FAQs, and thank you. I appreciate your time, and stay connected. We try to do many webinars as well as knowledge sharing sessions as much we can do. So do join our LinkedIn or Facebook community and stay connected. Thank you.